Welcome back to the Sustain and Innovate conference. Hello again. So we have another webinar for you. We would like to inform you about a startup, Know Your Stuff, with the aim of bringing more transparency into the textile supply chain for consumers. Verena Keller and Kaspar Flockenhaus founded the startup Know Your Stuff at the beginning of 2020. So I see Verena. Hello, Verena.
Hello, Astrid. Good to see you.
Nice to see you. So I'm very pleased. So can you tell us something about your project and what it's all about?
Yeah, I'm happy to. If you like, I can just start sharing my presentation.
Yeah, you can start. So I give the word to you. So start with the presentation.
Oh, the overview. Perfect. Thank you. So the motivation for, as you just said, Astrid, thank you very much for the introduction, to start our startup or to start this project is quite nicely wrapped up in a quote published in a study from the World Economic Forum, which was investigating beyond supply chains, empowering responsible supply chains. And they found that like everybody, the whole consumers are in the middle of a paradigm shift, and there's a strong consumer pressure which is fueled by social media, which is pushing commercial organizations to do more than lip service to the global socio-environmental impact of the supply chain. So consumers more and more expect more than greenwashing or like nice marketing frames, particularly with what's beyond the product they are buying. So the study finds a structural change in the way in which companies gain and maintain competitive advantage. So that was practically the source of, or the reason why we started Know Your Stuff. And we found ourselves challenging quite a few problems or issues which we were hearing from consumer side. And I'm just listing here a few pain points, which then actually led to the foundation of Know Your Stuff. And first of all is a general, rather poor image of the textile industry from a socio-ecological perspective. You probably know that there are always lots of not very positive happenings, events in the media, both from working conditions, but as well as environmental perspectives. Further, we find that there's a strong certificate jungle in the textile industry. So when speaking to my friends, like everybody was always complaining that it's super hard to understand what's really beyond and what's that particular product about and what standards does it fulfill, what does the certificate stand for. And this actually leads to the fact that both consumers and brands are facing a black box of textile manufacturing. Another aspect which has been becoming more and more prominent over the past years is the aspect of greenwashing, where like brands who are really doing a great job, who are authentic, who are investing a lot into sustainable aspects, can't stand out from brands claiming to, or it's getting harder and harder for them claiming to, and for the consumer to decide. And all the same, on the other hand, we find that there's strong consumers' willingness to buy consciously and responsibly. So this is there, and especially during COVID, now the first study showed that this is even increased. But the information for them is hard and complex to really understand, who's not just providing lip service. So these were the pain points we found ourselves in the consumer, from the consumer's perspective. And we question ourselves, like, how can we actually approach this challenge? How can we solve this problem? And that's how we came up with the concept of Know Your Stuff, which is supposed to, or helps to, unpack the black box of textile manufacturing. So it concretely means that we've created a digital platform which turns transparency into an essential part of the consumer's buying decision. So when the consumer is going into a shop and wants to buy a t-shirt or jacket, whatever, they can always judge it by the brand's image, of course, by the product itself, its style, colors, quality, and price. And we want to open up this buying decision basis by adding social and ecological factors into that. Super key for us is that it's easy to access. The consumer because it's not just textile consumers are finding themselves in, it's also like the food industry, cosmetics, toys, whatever. In this complex world, we need to create an easy access for the consumer to get this information. So what we've done, Know Your Stuff automatically creates a QR code per each individual product with the individual manufacturing chain. And that QR code at the point of sale directly leads the consumer by one scan to the journey of the garment. No app installation is needed, nor any registration. One scan and the consumer can immediately see it. So the target of Know Your Stuff was always to create a fun tool. It must be fun and easy to use and easy access to feeling good. What groups are we targeting? What's the business model behind it? So we have 4 major groups, which are to benefit from Know Your Stuff. First of all, it's the manufacturers, because they can make themselves visible with all the efforts and all the investments they've taken into high quality and sustainable production. Most importantly, of course, the brands, because they have a tool just to provide and show, display their manufacturing steps, their manufacturing partners, and all their investment into the high quality supply chains. We, of course, have the conscious consumer, whom I've spoken about before, who want to really deeper understand what's beyond the products, want others also to participate in the purchase, actually. And then, of course, also retail, like the sales staff in stores at various point of sales, also online, of course. For them, it's a supportive tool to better explain and present the product. So here's a little bit of a deeper look into the perspective of the brand, into the benefits for the brand, because I suppose many of you are working for a brand or having their own brands. And what you can do with Know Your Stuff is a fashion brand, sports brand, whatever. You can use your already existing supply chains, high quality supply chain partners, and turn them into a visible asset. So the work is already done. The investment is already taken from your side in many cases. And with Know Your Stuff, you just turn it onto the surface to the consumer where it belongs to. You would strengthen your brand identity by really actively boosting transparency, lead the industry in that direction. Sustainability needs transparency to work. It's absolutely unthinkable. And this is the step we need to take. And in the future, we can then altogether capture the triple advantage. Triple advantage, again, a term which is defined by the World Economic Forum's report. It means that in the future, it's no longer going to be profit only, but it's going to be a triangle of profit, society, and environment. And all these 3 aspects need to be fulfilled to really be successful in the future. So why Know Your Stuff? What have we been focusing on during creating the tool? It's we have always kept the user in mind. So always the consumer, everything is designed for the consumer, and also for the users on the platform side, like the brands and the manufacturers. Our key target is to keep it simple and lean and clear. There are options for customization if you want to have it more individually, but it's always a really, really nice tool to use. With a rather complex software in the background, we've done, like particularly my colleague Kasper Flockenhaus has done a lot of investment into the software and providing this tool in the background to make it also funded and authentic information. But then again, like summing it up, and easy to use and fun to use in the front end. In addition to that, it's not just about digital aspects, it's also about the physical parts of textile industry, of course, because we're talking about a physical product. We are working on the technical foundation for physical traces, which you can then actually apply on the fibre and link it on the Know Your Stuff platform. Know Your Stuff is really about creating emotion, about showing the faces behind the product, showing really the story, what has been going on, how was this product developed, what's been its journey. And we are using our social media channels and everything to also tell the stories of the manufacturing now of our pilot partners. And most importantly, when considering of a supply chain, like the technical terms, always starting from fiber to brand. We think that's not enough. We should we think it's important that we also include the consumer and make them part of the supply chain, and thus give them a tool to empower them and to get access of the supply chain. Yeah, and at the end, I'd like to show you one of our, it's our first, we're still in pilot phase. We have various pilot partners now we are working on for different segments, but there's one which we are already happy to publish them and to share with you. It's an Austrian brand, Austrian-based sport and outdoor brand called Scroc. And they have started their, it's a merino manufacturer, and they have started their supply chain with Know Your Stuff using the 4 main manufacturers: Textile for garment making, Utenos circular knitting. They are both in Lithuania. Then we have Südwolle Group with their manufacturing in Eastern European countries, and Australian Merino Expert, who's also like focusing on transparent merino fiber supply based in Australia. And if you have a phone available now, that would be cool, because you can now try Know Your Stuff out, so to say, directly, and have a look at our prototype where you will find the Scroc supply chain. So when you scan this QR code with a QR code scanner, or some phones just use a camera, put the camera over the QR code, and then you will arrive at a journey of one of Scroc's garments. Call. Yeah. So that's it from my side on the presentation, short wrap up what Know Your Stuff is about. And now I'm curious to hear what questions you have available for me.
Hello, Verena.
Hello.
Thank you for your introduction about Know Your Stuff. I have 2 questions for you. How far in process is Know Your Stuff, and how can I get in contact with you if the topic is interesting for my brand?
Yeah, so as mentioned, we are now in the pilot phase. So we are further developing the platform and really digging deeper into the market's needs, into the consumer's needs, trying out Know Your Stuff at point of sales with various partners globally. So we have some in Europe and some in the US, some in New Zealand and Australia. And if you want to get in touch with us, like there are various possibilities. Of course, you can send me an email directly. I've included my email address here in the presentation, but then you can also find us on social media like LinkedIn, Instagram, and now like for 2 weeks, we also have a YouTube channel.
Okay, thank you. So there is one quoting: I am working a lot with certified partners. How can I integrate these existing certificates in Know Your Stuff?
That's a good one, yeah, because I didn't mention it. So actually, on the platform, there's a possibility to upload your certificates, because that's an important approach of Know Your Stuff. We think there are already very, very good and high quality certificates in the market out there, and lots of manufacturers and brands are already certified according to those standards. So Know Your Stuff integrates every existing certificate and then displays it on the front end, so to say, on the consumer end. And Know Your Stuff is also verifying the uploaded certificates, actually.
Another question, on a large scale, what security the consumer have regarding the fact the chain of custody has been respected or provided with accurate infos?
Yeah, so the concept of Know Your Stuff is that all the manufacturers are uploading their information, like it's not the brand providing the information, but it's the manufacturers. And we will have a double check. Like, first of all, we have the certificate or the approval by uploading or by verifying the existing certificates. And secondly, the platform is constructed in a way that each tier, like we're operating on 4 tiers at this stage, is checking the other one. Like they confirm, okay, we received a particular lot from our previous supplier, going to check, send it out. And so it's a mutual controlling instance at the moment. And then the information is mostly, this is also the core principle of our Know Your Stuff, is based on trust. We think that it's already a huge leap forward towards being ready to open up the information about the manufacturers in the background as compared to what the status is now, because now there's nothing, or very, very few brands only show it up. And now with Know Your Stuff, we create trust by providing access to transparency. And these informations then are verified by the brand eventually, and provided by the manufacturers themselves.
Okay, thank you so much. I think if there are any other questions, we will forward them to you. Maybe you can have a look at the chat, or we forward all the questions. So thank you so much, Verena, and have a nice afternoon.
Thank you, Astrid. Enjoy the conference. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Bye.